pressure on. Victory is close.
Welcome again, ladies and gentlemen, to another War Thunder guide, back by request this time for Ground RB. As a complete beginner, Ground RB is a very inaccessible and difficult mode, and if not armed with the right knowledge and experience you will not do well. I cannot give experience, but I will attempt to give what knowledge I have to you, dear viewer, so that I may make your grind a little less painful than mine was. Without further ado, let's get started. Cover is the most important thing in Ground RB. The worst thing for you to do as a tanker is trundle out in the open with no cover. This will inevitably result in you getting shot and watching as your SL burns away in repair costs. Cover is the cornerstone of tactics on the War Thunder battlefield. Staying behind cover and only peeking when your gun is reloaded or pointing in the correct direction is a common and effective tactic in a duel with another tank, as you stop yourself from taking any damage until you're ready to give some back. Another cover-related tactic I would advise is staying behind cover when capping zones. Try to use something as a shield between you and your opponent's spawn. E.G. a building when capping zones to stop someone from sniping you from miles away while you're capping the zone. Looking around corners before you pass is important in battle to avoid any nasty surprises. Use the C keybind I mentioned in my air battle video to look around your tank and around corners before you find yourself staring down the barrel of a KV-2. This method means you often see the enemy before they see you. If you make sure that you're fully concealed, meaning you can catch them by surprise, which is extremely important in ground battles as generally the first shot dictates an engagement with tank battles. On an unrelated note, the binoculars are extremely helpful to look at far off places, and have even enabled me to take shots over hills that seemed previously impossible because I couldn't see them through my regular gunner sights. For light tank users, binoculars are also effective to scout for enemy tanks. Scouting is helpful for both you and your teammates as you get RP and money when a scouted target is destroyed, and your teammates get to know the location of the enemy, which is very useful knowledge in battle. Knowing your tank is essential for maximum performance. Using a tank in the wrong way is a sure way to speedrun seeing the hangar screen after battle, and using it the correct way can lead to devastating kill streaks, making you the bane of your enemies. Each tank acts differently and has a different role from others. Broadly speaking, light tanks are meant for flanking attacks, surprising your opponents with speed and getting beside or behind them with your superior agility, and also scouting enemies to help your teammates if an enemy tank is too heavy for you to take on, which is rare. Medium tanks are your workhorses, effective at both long-range sniping, flanking and more. Probably the most versatile class, and some medium tanks are well armored enough to take a hit or two in their best armored place. Heavy tanks are the behemoths of the battlefields, well armored, slower than their light and medium counterparts, often heavy hitting and formidable. These tanks are usually effective close-range brawlers, bouncing shells and dishing back damage in return. A tank destroyer is usually most effective in long-range combat. Their guns are usually devastating, and some have good frontal armor to take a few hits and some have none at all, but most are turretless and extremely vulnerable from anywhere but the front. Spears are mostly used to rid the skies of aircraft. Usually quite mobile, but not well armored. Some are quite well air-aimed as well, with quick-firing armament that can shred aircraft and armor alike. These classes, it should be noted, are extremely broad generalizations, as every tank acts very differently to another. The T-34, Panzer IV and Panther for example are all classed as medium tanks, but require very different playstyles to use effectively. Knowing your armor's strongest and weakest spots is essential to using your tank well. The same applies for your enemy. Knowing where to hit them for maximum damage is essential knowledge, otherwise you'll find yourself up against a heavy that's seemingly invulnerable wherever you shoot it. However, A general rule of thumb is that most tanks are weaker from the side and the back, and are strongest from the front. In my opinion, this one comes mainly with experience, but its importance is impossible to understate. Knowing the map that you are playing on well gives you a massive advantage. It is often said that knowledge is the most important tool in warfare, and I am inclined to agree. Knowing the best spots to position yourself, the best route to get to a zone or flank the enemy is extremely useful in combat and can grant you many kills. This one, however, comes more with experience. So play the game more and try to remember each map by looks, if not by name. Just remember one name, Berlin. I hate that map, and so do all my friends who play. It should burn just as the Reichstag did. Tunnel vision is the biggest enemy of a War Thunder player, and I succumbed to it a lot during my early hours of play. I still succumb to it now, but far less than before. Tunnel vision is the phrase used to describe when you are so focused on one objective that you don't pay any attention to what's happening around you. I mentioned the importance of situational awareness in my air video, and I will say that its usefulness is even more in ground, as your enemies have no name tags to distinctly view them, so knowing where they are is extremely important. Keep looking around you on your way to a zone. Don't focus only on reaching there. Keep an eye out for other enemies when flanking an opponent so that you can respond effectively if another threat arises. Tunnel vision has led to some hilariously bad shortcomings and missed opportunities, and a keen vision has led to some incredible kills, so its importance is undeniable. Flanking is a battlefield tactic in which, instead of attacking from head-on, you inch from the sides or bend them. It is the most effective tactic in War Thunder in my opinion, as it can keep you hidden for a bit longer until you strike directly at their vulnerabilities. Flanking multiple opponents can really pay off too, hitting your enemies hard before they even know what is going on. This tactic is best with faster tanks, but I use it to good effect even with heavies like the Tiger or the KV-1. It is great for both new players and veterans, simple and effective. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed, and would be honored if you subscribed or commented on the video if it helped. I hope I was helpful and made your grind that little bit more bearable. I'll see you in the next one.